Hey everyone, my name's Sean, and this is, I want to give you my thoughts on Knack for PlayStation 4. Just so you know, I bought this game on sale. I'm not going to pay full price for this game for a multitude of reasons. One, it is one of those games that came out at the very beginning of the PlayStation's life cycle, the PS4's life cycle rather. And it's trying to invoke those PlayStation nostalgia memories of, hey, don't you remember games like Crash Bandicoot or Spyro? Or even the Jak and Daxter where it was basically a platforming game. Visually, that's what it looks like. Mechanically, it plays like the most mediocre beat 'em up you can imagine. So, with this one, I'm going to actually get a little bit into the story. The story's a jumbled mess. It's horrible. You try to go in and you say, hey look, here is, you're fighting goblins, but also you're fighting this bad guy from opening this vault. You're also worried about this professor's old love interest, because apparently the doctor cannot live without the thought of his dear Charlotte. And Knack is literally just a pawn in all this. I don't think he has any sort of personality besides, I will do whatever I'm told, I will say whatever I'm told. He has a surprisingly deep voice, which threw me off so much. Because as he gets bigger, he gets a deeper voice, and it sounds like especially when he talks about getting bigger, my god, it sounds so wrong. Especially for a 24-year-old's mind. It gets to a point where it's not that family friendly. But, I mean, he starts off as a cute little adorable mascot that you can most likely find a plushie of if you can't find them already. But he grows bigger and bigger by finding these relics across the world. And, if an enemy hits you, you lose your relics, and you can gain them back throughout the level and everything. It's kind of like an old school platformer in those ways. Only there's far fewer actual platforming challenges. The name of the game is less running and jumping, but more of having combos and beating enemies up. And while there is a tiny variety of enemies, you have goblin variations of some enemies, you have robots variations of some enemies, you have robots that are being ridden by goblins, you have human enemies, you have animal enemies. There is some enemy variety, however, at the same time, they're the same type of enemies that you'll be seeing, and you'll recognize most of their patterns. And Knack has basically a 1-2-3 combo. He has what looks like a Sonic the Hedgehog homing attack by jumping and hitting the hit stuff button. You can gather the sunstones, which are these little yellow crystals that you can use to activate these super moves. They're normally there mostly if you just wanted to go in and clear a room of enemies. And by me saying that this feels like the most mediocre platformer ever, or mediocre beat 'em up ever, usually these beat 'em ups have many waves of enemies with different weapons, things like that, and this does invoke something like that. Only here's the thing with this type of 3D platformer. We are in an era of PS4. We've had 4 generations of video game consoles that have 3D graphics. And at the very least, we've had this is the 3rd generation where we've had 2 analog sticks by tradition. Since the inception of the dual analog stick, one engineer had the marvelous idea of mapping the camera to this analog stick. Knack decides to ditch that and uses the right analog stick for a dodge mechanic. A dodge mechanic that works maybe half the time and is slow as fuck. You try using it and he dodges and then just kind of like settles and kind of floats there. He does float if you double jump and just dodge, because you double jump and dodge, he stays in the air while he collects all the relics and then drops back down. It's not good whenever you're in a pinch, because if it was faster and more kinetic, I can really see, yes, I like this, I can dodge as much as I want, but it's so slow that it's not really useful. I'm mostly stuck to double jumping using the homing attack for most enemies, especially those that have arrows or that are on the ground, because hey, that's 99% of how I can take out enemies, is just by double jumping and booping them Sonic the Hedgehog style. Now the whole gimmick with Knack is the more relics you collect, the bigger you get and the harder that you can hit. Not only do enemies scale with you in that way, but if you lose some of your relics, you don't hit less. In fact, the more relics that you collect, not only does it refill your health, but it makes you more powerful in the same way. And most of the time, whenever you are going in there and collecting the relics, you just level up the same way. So it really doesn't make you feel more powerful. It would be much more cool if whenever you took damage, that kind of increase that you got with those relics, that damage increase, the more relics that you gained kind of scaled with you. You would get much more powerful if you have more relics, but you would get much weaker if you lose them. That way you're kind of scrapping to get more relics. I mean, it would be a really fun mechanic, but again with this, they dropped the ball on it big time. The story is a jumbled mess. You end up resolving some things at just a drop of a hat, or some characters have motivations that are just like, okay, that's fine, we'll just do it. Well, fine, we'll just change our mind. Knack has no personality. It looks like a Pixar film if it would stay at a good frame rate. Again, Knack was created to show that, oh yeah, you can have so many polygons and particles on screen. Yeah, it's great to have those particles, but it'd be also great if I could play this game and not have the frame rate dip to a slideshow presentation. So, honestly, Knack has a big cult following, mostly due to fans calling Knack God in some circles. Mostly because, you know, Knack is one of the games that should be on PlayStation Plus as a free game, and everybody wants it on there. It should be on there, mostly so that people can have it in their collection. People should not go out and play this. Even if you have little kids, it was great whenever the PlayStation 4 had no games on it, but now that the PS4 has some good platformers, Knack is only there if you want to go for maybe an adequate platinum. But again, there are so many other games that you can play where you can get an easier platinum, games that you can play that have a much better story attached, much better gameplay, definitely. And something that doesn't have so much monotony to it. I think that's the biggest thing about it that I don't like, is that it's so monotonous. I felt like I was doing the same thing every single time. And while it looked kind of pretty, it's so boring. And I think that describes Knack in a nutshell. It's boring. I mean, I played on hard mode, and if you see I die a lot in this video, a lot of it's kind of because I really am not trying. I'm just trying to pad out this video. Really kind of sucks. Don't go in and go for it. Just buy better games. the only time that you would really need to go in and buy this is if you're really, really drunk. This is a game that you would play while drunk, but that's it. Don't go buy this game. There are much better games out there for you to play. I guess wait until it's on PlayStation Plus. If it ever gets on there. Or, hell, if Knack 2's better, I might do a review of that, but yeah. Until next time, I'll see you next week.